It's the birthday of Accra Suffolk, the biggest club in Ghana and for that matter, Africa. And you are the senior most member of the club, and we thought of coming to you for the history of the club. So we'd like to know how was Accra Suffolk formed, and why the name Accra Suffolk?
Okay. You know, football started years ago in Cape Coast, and it was brought in by the then white merchants. You know, whenever they come down from their ship, you know, and they will stay for a period before they are loaded away. They try to have some sort of entertainment, and by then football has started in Europe then before. Some of the clubs in Europe have been formed as far back as the 19th century. I'm talking about 18 something. So gradually, you know, they started training amongst themselves, the whites, and then luckily they got some of the natives, you know, to join them. And mind you, during that period, Cape Coast was the capital of Gold Coast, that's Ghana. You know, so it flourished there. A club was formed there, and somewhere along the line, you know, it went away. And then, of course, it spread to Accra. And by the time we got to Accra, the capital had been moved to Accra. That was 11th November 1911. Yeah, so it was quite a long time. I remember I was talking to somebody from South Africa, and the person was surprised that the club was established at that time, because at that time they themselves, they had no closeness at all to football. Yeah. Now, the club was formed by a gentleman by name Christopher Branford Netty. He was a military man. In those days, the Ghana military officers, they have their own name. They call them Asafuache. And he fought side by side with the British regiments then. Indeed, he was among those who went on the expedition to the Ashanti region to fight against the Ashantis, and that led to the capture of Yasantewa, and then of course the deportation and other things that followed. Now, the club was formed on a street where the old man had his house. You know, the road runs in front of him. The street used to be called Horse Road. Now they call it Asafuachenete Road. If you watch, it runs from the central post office all the way in front of his house, with the house is still there, in front of his house, and ends up at Palladium Junction. That's the Asafuachenete. So when they talk about Asafuachenete, they mean CB Neti. He was a very influential person in Accra in those days. Now, he formed a club with other colleagues of his. Some of the names, if I can remember, Bruce Tego, and amongst them also was his own son, who was then a very young man, called S.T. Neti, who later became a commissioner or a minister in the 60s under General Nkra. Now, mind you, General Nkra has been chairman of the club before too. Yeah, on the one side of stage, he was chairman of the club. First player to use boots in the whole of Ghana, if not in West Africa, was called Emmanuel Christian Bryant, E.C. Bryant, who was also a House of Folk captain for years. And now Bryant did not just captain Accra Asofo, but he captained the Black Stars. He was the first captain of the Ghana Black Stars. Indeed, when they went to Britain in 1950, I think 54 or so, 55, and played various clubs in England, on their way back, he brought boots and started using the boots. And then later on, other players in House of Hope started using it. And it's quite interesting. Now, the first match they played, by then there was no organized league as it is now. But the sort of organized competition, if I'll put it this way, was done by the then governor of the Gold Coast, Sir Gordon Gorgesberg. And he was able to organize a match between the few clubs then. And House of Folk was a club that picked the first ever organized football match in this country. That was in 1922. So you can see that's long ago. So, in short, his, and that's CB Netty, that's the old man himself, Captain Netty. He has a son called S.T. Netty, Samuel Tete Netty, who for decades was the spiritual head of the club. Indeed, you still go to his house at Accra Newtown. That is where he lived. Excuse me, that is where he lived. Now, he was also once, you know, the club had been in hands of very responsible people, highly responsible people in this country. Now, S.T. Netty was once a minister or a commissioner of, I think, labor and trade. So you can see that the club has not passed through the hands of just somebody. So, the long and short of it, Netty has a spiritual head. Anytime we are playing a match, this is where we go for our prayers. And I can assure you that that is still happening. That is still happening. I think in short, this is how the club came into being, and it's been able to stay all these years. We are now going to celebrate 112 years. That is phenomenal. Yeah, that is, so that's what I'll say about that.
But the other one, why the name House of Folk?
Oh, if you watch carefully, what is important here is the name oak. Is the oak tree. Oak tree is a very strong tree, huge, and in the olden days, the timber of the oak tree is so powerful that it's used in building ships. So that I can tell you how. And one tree that can live for centuries. Can live for centuries. So the oak tree, oaks, being associated with the heart. Heart, if we want to talk about heart in its rare form, is just an organ, fairly soft. So if you have the heart of an oak tree, then you must be a tough person. Hence the name House of Oak. Yeah, that's how that came.
I guess that explains the reason why we are still in existence.
Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, I would have come on that, but since you talk of that, the fact that we are still around shows how resilient we can be as a club. We don't know what is called a failure. Hence also our battle cry of never say die. No matter what we must succeed. And that has been the spirit of the club for years. For years. And also, we have been very successful in almost all matches. In fact, when the league was properly organized in the time of Oyinijan, once again, we were the first to pick the cup. And I can say proudly that we've won quite a number of cups, either in special competitions or the league or knockouts.
So, usually you hear most of the fans saying Rainbow, the Rainbow Boys, the Rainbow Club. Why the name Rainbow?
No, Rainbow normally comes, is a sort of a sign that we see after a rainfall. And in those days, they said that when you are going to play House of Folk and you see that sign, there's no way you can win. The rainbow itself is a sign of hope, a great sign of hope. And beauty, it goes quite an exciting colors, you know, and it got a great beauty. Now, we see it also as a pot of gold, beautiful gold, and also it's a sign of good fortune. These are, you see, the founders of the club, these were all well-educated people, so they took their time to come out to some of these things. There's a lot of diversity and all embracing image of a friendship in the club. That's how it started. You see, so rainbow, you get all the colors together before you can get the rainbow. And these are the key areas that in those days convinced the then founders, you know, to use a rainbow. Indeed, the rainbow colors are the jerseys that we use. Like what I'm wearing now, that's the rainbow color. Even though there are a lot of colors that can come in to give you the rare rainbow, but the key colors are this for House of Folk. And our jerseys that we use years back, I think in the 40s, I'm told, were jerseys ordered from Britain. And if you see the original House of Folk jersey, you'll be proud. It comes in a striped form, and you see that it's an English jersey that was made for its climate. You follow me? Long sleeves. And then you see, what do you call a lace that can be laced. So those of us who are lucky to see some of the old jerseys, you know, when the players wear it, honestly, it looks so beautiful, very, very beautiful. So that is that with the rainbow colors. Yeah.
This is quite historical, but it looks like most of fans, some of the players, they really don't know much about this history. So this history, I mean, what does it mean to you? What does it mean to the entire Phobia family?
No, it means a lot. I mean, it's just like talking about founding of the nation Ghana. I mean, this country started very well, on the right footing, just like our club. Naturally, there will be ups and downs. But what I said earlier on, that we have that strong belief in what we are doing. Anybody who have heard the House of Folk before has a strong character. Most of them, I can't remember them now, but recent times, you talk of H.P. Nyamite. I mean, these were giants of the club. It was during their period that they appointed me as chairman of the club. These were gentlemen. Nyamite was a managing director of, but they started SIC. The present SIC, Nyamite and one gentleman from Cape Coast area. I'll get the name soon. So you can say these are not just ordinary people. These are people who have respect in the society. And Nyamete contemporaries, if I can remember some of them, Kwesi Asante Sachi. These were big men. He was once an MP in Nkrumah's time and a businessman. Then you have also Tommy Thompson, you might have heard of his name, another strong giant. You have also Dr. Eugene Queno. You have also Alhaji Tijani. These were giants. Giants. And then you have Ambassador Osekre, who was also a lawyer. And then you have also Mr. Ajedu, who passed on a couple of years ago, who was one of those who started a Ghana Commercial Bank. So you can imagine. He became an MD there. He was also MD at Bank for Housing and Construction. I mean, these were well-seasoned people, you know. Their love for the club was what made it possible for the club to exist till today. And after them, have come others along the line. After I left, Commodore came there briefly. Then good old Harry Sawyer, who was an MP also, was a minister in this country. So you can say Asofo is always made up of sophisticated people and people with strong conviction on what they want to do. And then we have another Sawyer who passed on very young, if I'll say so, who was once a chairman. In fact, he was a chairman before I came. And then we've had Hughes has also been a chairman before. Then lately, when I say lately, you are talking about 30 years or so plus. Atua Hoy also. And then, of course, Harry Zako, whom you know of. But Harry was originally an Olympics man. And most of you don't know. He left Olympics and came to us. But he did very well. Harry did very well. And then, who are those you might probably remember? Thompson, quite a number of the Alhaji Hats. These were giants of the club. Alhaji Hats. Yeah. So if I can remember, I have mentioned Commodore Mensah already. And we kept on moving until the club was sort of turned into a limited liability, and we now have Toby Afede the 14th as the head of the club, chairman of the board. So House of Oak is a club with history, with very dedicated and respected leaders. So it's a club, I would say, is represented across the whole length and breadth of Ghana. Anywhere in Ghana you go to, your House of Oak.
So, if we have to talk about the leadership of the club, now the leadership of the club has moved into the hands of the board chairman, the current board chairman, because we after the 14th. And we would like to know what is the current situation of the club and what should we expect from this club in the coming years?
Well, a club that has been put on the market. People have to buy shares, and the highest bidder is the one who, becomes the head of the club or the institution. You follow me? That's why Toby Afede is in the chair now. And interestingly, Since he came, there have been a lot of changes. A lot of, I mean, he's, I remember very well when they wanted to form the board, the new board, after the club became a limited liability. He came to me in this house and talked to me about it. He would like to me to be on the board with him. At the same time, I have been also asked by the Council of Patrons to represent the patrons on the board. So I play both roles, you know. And the Council of Patrons, at the moment we have Madam Anna Enin, you know, and also former IGP CK Dewonu. So you can even see throughout the years such people who have handled the club. General Nkra has been head of the club before. He was a head of state and a general of the army. You follow me? And then Atu Ahoy was a minister in Rawlings' regime. Then President Mills as once, but when I was a chairman, Mills was then lecturing at Legon, and we used to train at Legon. He always come to watch us. You see, there are other big people, so you can see head of states, you know, have always been associated with the club. And then also a man like Totobi Kwache, we shouldn't forget him. These are giants in the club, but people don't know. And there are a lot of judges and lawyers that you know them. That's why when we lose matches, you know, it's very painful to some of them. They call to find out what is wrong with them. And we've had also a tradition. I think it comes after every 10 years, if I'm right. Those who started, there have been key players who got absorbed into the national team. Key players like Yisi Bryant, Ananti Ankra, C.D. Arthur, and some of them I can't even remember the names. These were very, very good footballers. You have to see them to believe it. And they all played in the national team. All of them. Then after their era, we had people like Ado Damite, a central defender, Adu Dako. I mean, these were wonderful footballers. At times when I look at the boy our boys playing now, no, they don't come close at all. Adu Dako, Ofe Doju, Ajiri Fin, even Griffin himself, I played house before. Yeah, Griffin of I think of 11 Wives and Cables. I played house before. CK Jamfi, you can call them. You cannot mention them. These are giants in football. When I came down, then we came to the level of Abekankra and his group. That's his era. Mama Kwa, and you know, these were wonderful footballers. Recently, one of them died, Anan Seydou. These were great footballers, with skills. You see? And then after that, Anan Seydou and others also played with a gentleman by the name Willie Evans. Another central. House of Kufo has always had wonderful central defenders. That's their mark. Wonderful central defenders. And all these people I'm mentioning, throughout the years, most of the players in House of Folk captained the Black Stars. They played and captained the Black Stars. So you can imagine that this is a club with a strong standing. And then we came on a bit, the club was in a bit during the era of Hessel Dampton, Samson Lamte, you see, and others. I can't remember them now. These are the key people. They were beautiful players as well. Ofansa. I mean, these are people you see and you like as a fool. Unfortunately, during some of them their era, they started slacking, you know, and then I came in and I have to sack 23 regular players, and then brought in Shamokwe, Joado, I'm sure you know, Abladekuma, Anyetesoa, Ben Dubate, Ezekiel Lamu. So most of them are outside the country now. So that era also was a different era. Then after that came in the group that won as the Continental Shield. You follow me? So always we have at the moment we haven't got it now. After that, I think that
for some time now we've noticed that the club, there's progression. We've seen a lot of infrastructural projects, the developmental programs of the club. What does it really mean to the club?
Oh, it means a lot to the club, you know. Don't forget that there have been a lot of clubs in Accra. And I remember very well when I was a kid, there was a club somewhere in Nima area known as Red Lions, very strong club. Now all these clubs have just vanished, if I would say so. And then there were other clubs like Stand Fast in Accra here. Now Stand Fast, out of Stand Fast came Olympics. And I think they had a misunderstanding in a group, decided to tear off to go and form Olympics. But their mother club was called Accra Stand Fast. And then later, I think in the 50s, they formed Accra Great Olympics. And then we used to have a club in Ashanti called Evergreens, and a lot of clubs, you know, across the country. Some former well-known clubs like Dwarfs. These days we don't hear of them. Mysterious Dwarfs. Even 11 Wives, we don't hear of them now. They used to be giants some years ago. Cape Coast Mysterious Dwarfs. They have always been a big trouble for us of whenever we have an away match with them. These days, they are no more on the front line. You follow me? Now, if we talk about things that we have done, how the club has progressed, I'll say we've made a lot of wonderful strides. Because when the club started years ago, as I said, everything was done in the house of Captain Eneti. And then, I think in the 40s, they moved it to Tudu. Some of you might not know, we used to have our headquarters used to be in Tudu. It's a small place. I think it's a 2-room house. And we were there for years. For years. And when we won the Continental Club Cup, I think the money that was given, we used that to buy the Farah Avenue property. And now the Farah Avenue property on the Towe Afede has been turned into a complete new structure. You see it, I don't have to talk about it. That was done with a vision and a foresight. You follow me? Yeah, and it wasn't easy, but we thank God the structure has been completed. Very soon you'll see it. It will be known as the Phobia House, you know. And then we also have a commercial center, which is our own property. The building belongs to Asasofo. You follow me? Where all commercial activities will take place at. You follow me? Now, we didn't end there. we established also what we call supporters liaison office. So you can see that the location is so good. There's a huge space there. Supporters can always meet there, and when we have a match outside Accra, that will be a meeting spot, and then they will be ferried away. They will be carried away to where the match is taking place. And then we have also the Bobiman project. That's House of Folk Academy. And I don't have to talk much about that. Those who really want to see what the club has done must go there and have a look. Unbelievable. No club in the country has achieved that yet. The idea is to start with the young people so that they are absorbed by the club from infancy and they grow with the club. So just like you have in Manchester United and what do you call it, other clubs in Europe or across Europe. So you can see that as far as development is concerned, or the developmental program are concerned, we are doing our best. But there are clubs which have been in existence for years and they don't even have an office till today. You follow me? So I think, like it has always been said, when you have the right leaders, you know exactly what you get to, you know where you get to. And luckily, the present leadership, have the foresight, of course, headed by Togba Fede, and we are making great strides. And I hope definitely before we leave the scene, a lot of wonderful things will come to the club.
So
now we have also in mind of building a stadium, a House of Folk Stadium, and very soon that also will start. We are ready. What we are looking for is a place that will be very convenient and central for people to go and watch matches.
Talking about stadium, stadium brings a lot of memories, and we want to know what's your fondest memory when it comes to Accra House of Folk.
Oh, by the moment, I would say what we see at the stadium when Haas is playing is nothing to write home about. Nothing, absolutely. When Haas is playing a match, when I was a kid, I mean, the whole stadium is fully packed. Go into some of the records at the office, you see, it's fully packed. Even when we are playing Olympics became our number 2 rivals also. Our number 1 rivals, of course, is Kotoko. You follow me? When Haas is playing a match with Kotoko, you know what happens at the stadium. Now, unfortunately, the English football has taken a big toll on our, what do you call it, football, in the sense that most of our present players haven't got the skills that we want. Because it's the players who draw spectators to the field. And they go to the field, they go to the stadium to see how the footballers will perform. But if you don't see the skills that you used to see, nothing will attract you. That's why we have had a great downgrading of spectatorship at its various stadiums across the country. And that is very, very unfortunate. That's very, very unfortunate. It's affecting the club. Well, we don't get the revenue that we should get. And also, it's making football becoming so uninteresting to a lot of people. But I believe strongly, if we come to our former form as House of Folk, Not only our supporters come, but others also would like to come and watch us play. I'm quite sure about that.
And what would you tell the players? Because it is their skills that attract spectators. The way they play attracts spectators. What would you tell them, the current players?
I think some of the players at the moment, they forget themselves that they are professionals. And if you have a profession, you work seriously towards what you have. You follow me? They forget themselves also that their source of income comes from football. And I think thirdly, they forget themselves also that their performance is what might send them abroad. You see? Because football is a profession that ages quickly. You follow me? Very quickly. So if you are young and you have the talent and you are serious, you are easily seen on the world market and you are gone. You follow me? So for me, that's the first thing I will tell them. They have to take their work very, very seriously. You follow me? Some of them, you see that they have no idea what they are doing. They think they are still playing the village football. No. No. Where they've reached now, the slightest difference they will show. Because always there are eyes on them. If a club finds you, an outside club finds you to be good, they'll quickly grab you. And that will definitely improve your financial position. Now, where they slack, that is the period that I came in with the musical youth. Okay? And we don't want that to happen again. Recently, before they played, was it Karela or some club, we have to have a talk with them. We had a serious talk with them. And we have noticed also that they are putting in more efforts now. That is what management wants. We don't need anything. We don't want anything from them. If anything, we spend our own money and time. So they should know that they are, and particularly when they wear the House of Folk jerseys, that should give them that extra energy. But we hope with time, definitely, they will come back on track.
Talking about the performance of the players, it looks like now the fans are, they look, I'd say they feel okay that there's been an improvement in their performance. And tying that to 112th anniversary, what message do you have for the House of Folk fans and for the entire House of Folk family?
Well, I personally, I'm not still very happy with the level of football that we're playing. No, I feel we can still go further, honestly. And the fans, you can't have a football club the size of House of Folk without big support base. So the supporters are extremely important. They are very important. However, many a time they are impatient. You follow me? Impatient, but when things are explained to them, their present leadership, I think, is doing well. The present leadership under Herman Hesse is doing well. I think they have now been able to pinpoint exactly where the problems are. You follow me? So all I will tell the support base is that they have to be patient. They know what we have passed through. What the club was years ago is not what it is today. We are doing our best to bring it to that level. And it is our hope that very soon, they all saying that House of Folk, when you meet somebody who watch a match, you don't ask whether we scored or not. Well, we don't lose matches. But how many goals have been scored? We shall soon come to that level. I believe strongly.
Okay, so we would like to talk about the direction of the club in the next 10 years.
Oh, the direction of the club next 10 years, definitely 10 years from now there will be a lot of strides, positive strides in our system. Especially with the Women project, because by then the place is well established. At the moment we have, I think, 3 natural pitches and 1 AstroTech, I think. You follow me? There are other facilities there. There's a golf course. We have tennis courts, handball, you know, and quite a number of other activities. So I believe strongly the club will grow tall with time. Definitely, the club will grow tall with time, and we shall all be very proud because we have taken off nicely, and the way things are going with our new headquarters too, which I'm sure will serve other purposes for the club. This will all boost not only the image of the club, but it will bring in a lot of resources for the club.
So we'd like to wrap up, but we want you to talk about one last thing. What's the difference between Hearts of Oak and the other clubs in Ghana?
Oh, that one is so clear. Oh, that is so clear. Can't you see how they always struggle to join? The boys were always, if you are playing Hearts of Oak, you are playing the top club. You follow me? So, and you can see that some of the boys some of the clubs when they are playing, you see the effort they put in, extra effort. You follow me? So as a difference, there's a lot of difference. Even those we have on the premier level, none of them can compare themselves to us. None at all. House of Folk has shown 2 things. One, there is a club which has stood the test of time. You follow me? And the way it is still progressing, it has a lot of future. You follow me? And it's a club that when you don on the jersey, you have the spirit in you, and you do very, very well. So that's why the difference is a big difference between Hearts of Oak and other clubs, even those in the premier section as well. But I believe strongly this time around, we might be among the first 3 in the present league. I believe strongly. We are seeing a lot of changes now in the boys, their efforts and whatnot. And then yesterday they didn't lose their match. I was so happy about it. And the one thing they should notice is that any other club they play, the club tries to work harder just to defeat us. But I think we are gradually getting to our target, and soon it will be over. Yeah.
Thank you very much for this time. We are grateful.
It was a pleasure seeing all of you.